Can you imagine that in 2026, the world's only superpower, the United States, could lose to a country it has sanctioned for the past 40 years? This isn't my claim. It comes from Professor Sine, whose two major predictions about Donald Trump have already come true. Now, the world is waiting for his third prediction, one that could change everything. This is not just another conspiracy theory. According to a game theory expert like Professor Sine, this is a deeply calculated and alarming forecast that is rapidly moving toward reality. If it proves true, within the next 6 months, the money in your bank account could become worthless paper, and the global order could shift forever. In this video, we will expose the hidden script that mainstream media doesn't want you to see. We'll explore how Iran's cheap drones, costing just a few $100s, are challenging America's trillion-dollar military dominance. And more importantly, we'll ask, is Donald Trump pushing the world toward destruction for emergency war powers or political gain, following an agenda tied to secret societies and end times theories? In the next few minutes, you're about to see a side of reality the world may not even be prepared for. Welcome back to Nobel's Creation. Professor Sane's first prediction was that Donald Trump would win the election again, and that came true. His second prediction was that a major conflict would break out between the US and Iran, and that also happened. But his third prediction shocked everyone, that in this war, the United States would suffer a devastating defeat. And this isn't just speculation, it's backed by logical arguments. So how could a military superpower like the US lose to Iran? According to Professor Sane, Iran hasn't been preparing for this war for just a year or two, but for over 20 years. Within Iran's ideology, this is seen as a final, decisive battle. Iran has carefully studied the weaknesses of both the US and Israel, their defense systems, strategies, and response patterns. Over months, they didn't just negotiate, they bought time to prepare. Instead of direct confrontation, Iran is using proxies, the Houthis in Yemen, Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas in Palestine, and Shia militias in Iraq and Syria. Their goal is not just to target US soldiers, but to disrupt the entire American empire and global economy. They are targeting key US allies in the Gulf, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, and Bahrain, countries that form the backbone of the global energy system. Iran's strategy goes beyond military bases. They are targeting critical infrastructure like oil facilities and desalination plants. In many Gulf countries, over 60% of drinking water comes from desalination. If even one major plant is destroyed, for example in Riyadh, a city of 10 million could run out of water within 2 weeks. Now imagine an entire city facing a water crisis. At the same time, Iran is threatening to block the Strait of Hormuz, a route through which a massive portion of global oil and food supplies pass. Most people think this would just cause inflation, but in reality, it could threaten the survival of entire nations. And here's the key point. These Gulf countries are central to the US economy through the petrodollar system. They sell oil in dollars, keeping global demand for the dollar high. Then they reinvest those dollars into US markets, stocks, real estate, and especially AI infrastructure. If war disrupts oil exports, these investments stop. And if that happens, America's AI-driven economic boom could collapse, what Professor Sane calls a financial Ponzi scheme. Now the question is, why can't the US stop these cheap drones? Because modern warfare has changed. America's military system was built during the Cold War, focused on expensive, complex technology. But today's warfare is asymmetric, where a $50,000 drone can destroy a $1 million defense system. There are reports showing that multiple interceptor missiles failed to stop a single incoming threat. Iran's Shahed drones are simple, low cost, and effective. They fly low, are hard to detect, and can travel long distances with minimal fuel. Stopping them with expensive missiles is like using a train to stop a car. It's inefficient and unsustainable. This creates a financial imbalance the US cannot maintain long-term. Meanwhile, US missile stockpiles are shrinking, forcing them to use reserves meant for other threats like China. All of this signals a shift toward a multipolar world where US dominance fades. Another key point, airstrikes alone cannot win wars. History shows that regime change requires ground troops, and the US currently has no intention of sending them into Iran. Yet pressure is building from allies like Israel and Gulf nations. So why did Trump enter this conflict? According to Professor Sain, there are three main reasons. First, overconfidence after smaller military successes. Second, political and financial incentives linked to powerful allies and investors. Third, and most controversial, hidden influence from secret societies allegedly shaping global events based on end times beliefs. According to this theory, groups like the Illuminati, Jesuits, and Freemasons are driving a long-term agenda centered around a major Middle East conflict. Whether you believe that or not, the conclusion remains. Even if the US wins this war, it could still be a strategic defeat, just like Iraq, Afghanistan, and Libya. So what do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like and share this video. See you in the next one.